What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Drums and Drams. Today we got a real short live stream or video here for you. We are going to talk about a brand new label filing that just came through this morning. I'm sure many of you have seen this, but also many of you probably work real jobs and you're not sitting around like me at home either playing music or editing videos. So if that's the case and it's the first you've heard of it, welcome in. We're going to talk about it. It'll be about a 5-minute little thing here, and then we'll get you on your way. And then just real quick, a little shameless plug, I guess, before we move on. At 7 p.m. Eastern tonight, we'll be back for a quick live review of a Mystery Whiskey 2025 batch product. So come back at 7 p.m. Eastern. And then at 9 p.m. Eastern, the full 2025 BTAC lineup, I'm going to be going through and tasting that live. So just a couple upcoming things this evening after this bourbon news update. But let me throw this up on the screen for you. So this is the label filing that came through. All right, so as you can see, we're going to talk about the things that we do know and the things that we don't know, and then maybe some of the, I guess, speculation about this. So we do have a 12-year age statement on this new King of Kentucky label. We don't have a press release, so we're not going to get any sort of release date. We're not going to get, any details on mash bill. But we can maybe make some assumptions about some of those things. We definitely don't have a price point either, but we have a 12-year age statement on this new King of Kentucky, and it's a small batch. So the current product, which I have here, the current King of Kentucky, as you can see, says single barrel on the bottom. There's a collection of barrels released each year, only a few thousand at a time. High proofs on these in the 120s, 130s, and then age statements have ranged from 14 to 18 years old for these so far. So we're seeing a 12-year age statement on this new product. The proof that's listed on here is 105, but that could just be a TTB placeholder. Now, it's maybe a little less likely to be a placeholder in the case of a small batch. Oftentimes, brands will know what they want their small batch to land at, and it might actually be an accurate proof. But in other cases, they might just throw that in there and then decide later that they want to cut this down to 100, 110, 115, whatever the case may be. So I think, that's going to be a big point of interest for folks. But we know the 12-year age statement's coming. It says batch number 1 of 3 on the label. So not sure if that's per year. I don't really see a year listed on here, or if that's just going to be like a limited run of batches. But let me show you the back label now. So on the back label, we see this small batch of King of Kentucky is the first released in over 90 years. And what they mean is as a batched product. The single barrel's obviously been out for several years now. But, the King of Kentucky label, it's a really, really old label that was resurrected. It says, continuing a tradition established in 1881, it is carefully crafted from barrels ranging in age from 12 to 18 years. All right, so we have a minimum age statement of 12 years, but they're saying they might throw some stuff up to 18 years in here. Now, you can never know how much of that they're trickling in, or maybe they are going to make this a pretty solidly, higher aged product. If you average things out, we don't know at this point, and then resulting in a rich, robust flavor profile. So I'll throw this back on the screen, this front label. The point is, for me here, that we are starting to see the expansion of portfolios from brands, right? So like some folks have kind of predicted that Heaven Hill is going to be coming out with an Elijah Craig that's like maybe in that 15-year range, or another product from Heaven Hill, maybe a label that we don't even know yet, that's going to be in that 15-year age range to kind of bridge the gap from what is now a sinking ship of age statements from Elijah Craig up to the premium like Heaven Hill Heritage Collection, William Heaven Hills, which tend to have age statements in that like 18-year kind of range. So I think a lot of these brands are going to end up doing this, where they can raise the price points, $150, $200 per bottle on some of these, higher age products that don't quite creep into their premium lines and take things away from that. So that's kind of like my biggest takeaway here, is that we're starting to see Brown-Forman doing something along those lines. And we'll kind of keep our eyes out on the other brands like Heaven Hill, like Barton, and see what they end up doing with some of that stuff. Because those brands often sell a lot of their older stuff off to brokers, or just kind of like one-off deals with, NDPs that they have close associations with. And then the other worry here, I think some of the speculation and just like chatter today has been, is this going to impact the kind of like core single barrel line of King of Kentucky with those higher age statements? This most recent release in 2025, 17-year age statement, is pretty crazy. So is this going to impact it? Obviously, we don't know, but if you look at a brand like Elijah Craig, the private barrel program hit around the time that the batch product started, at least in many of our opinions, falling off. However, the batched products themselves lowered an age statement, whereas here we're talking about King of Kentucky normally having a high age statement. So it's not quite like a direct comparison. It's a little apples to oranges as we talk about batched Elijah Craig versus high-aged single barrel King of Kentucky and how these like middle age statement lines are going to affect those things. So I think the jury's still out on that. I hope that what happens here is that they take banger 12-year barrels and blend it with maybe slightly subpar 13 to 18 year barrels that they wouldn't put in the single barrel line but otherwise might not get used, and try to find like a happy balance between those things. And hopefully the product doesn't carry anything more than like $150 price tag. Maybe that's a pipe dream. The interesting part about this is that they've left King of Kentucky on the label. Does that dilute the brand? Should they have called it Queen of Kentucky, Prince of Kentucky, something else? I don't know. King of Kentucky is obviously recognizable. They want to probably like take advantage of the brand recognition that they already have with this, that they've built over the last couple of years. But at the same time, if this product ends up falling, or failing, and then the higher age statement single barrels end up kind of declining in quality as well, I think all around that's a bad move. So I think Brown-Forman, the ball's in their court on this to really make this thing pop. And if they whiff on it, I think they get one whiff. I think the first batch, you might get a little leeway, but you can't whiff on all three of these batches. So I'm going to be keeping my eyes out on this and trying to see when it's going to drop, keep my eyes peeled for a press release and everything. But I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, guys. What do you think about it? Just a little news segment here, a little longer than 5 minutes, but that's okay. Come back 7 p.m. Eastern tonight for a live blind review, and then 9 p.m. Eastern for the big show. Right now I only have the George T. Stagg 2025, but in the next 2 hours or so, the brown truck driver is going to drop off the other 5 BTACs from this year. So I'm excited to get into that this evening. We'll be giving away some samples. Let me know what you think about this King of Kentucky stuff in the comments below. Like this video, and please check out the Patreon for exclusive content and barrel picks. Cheers, and I will see you guys right back here in just over 2 hours for a live review on Drums and Drams.